We have been looking at inequalities. Today we're going to look at multi-step inequalities and compound inequalities. Your essential question is, how do I solve and graph multi-step inequalities? Your learning intention. I'm learning to solve and graph multi-step inequalities. You've got 2 warm-up questions. Pause the video and do the first 2 questions now, please. Well, I do hope you tried to do those on your own. Remember, let's keep our column straight. We still do the line through our symbol to divide both sides, and we keep our column straight. 5x minus 3. The opposite of subtracting 3 is to add 3. So 5x, bring your symbol down, is less than or equal to 25. Same thing again, only this time I've got to divide both sides by 5. And we've got x is less than or equal to 5. Does it matter where I put the 5 at? No. I'm going to put this right here. This is going to be my 5. Step 1, find the number on the number line. Step 2, is it an open or closed circle? It's equal to, so it will be closed. Step 3, which side do I highlight? Well, the little end is going to the x, which means x has got to be the smaller values. Wherever that pointy end is going, that's showing you your smaller value. In this case, it is the numbers. For the next one, what do we do first? Well, we've got to distribute. 4 times negative 3x, negative 12x. Negative 12x. 3 times negative 4 is negative 8. Is greater than 40. Okay, it's time to solve. Keep everything straight. Keep all those columns straight. Add 8 because that's the opposite of subtracting. Negative 12x is greater than 48. Okay, now I'm going to divide by a negative number. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 12. What does that do to my sign? What has to happen with that sign? It's got to switch around, so instead of greater than, it becomes less than. X is less than. 48 divided by negative 12 is negative 4. Where's negative 4 at? I don't care, just put it on my number line. Open or closed circle? Well, there's no equal, so it is open. What is my smaller value? Where does it point to? It points to x. So once again, I will be highlighting the numbers that are less than negative 4. So let's think about this. How are the equalities and inequalities the same? How is solving them the same? You use inverse operations. And you have to simplify before you can get started. You have to simplify both sides. Okay. Now, when I learned to do them, other than the symbol, they to me were pretty much the same. But there is one major difference. What is that major difference? Well, the major difference is if you multiply or divide by a negative number, then your symbol will switch around. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, your symbol switches. I left the M out. I knew that looked weird. Switches, changes direction, that's all the same. It changes direction. Switches around. Okay, now this brings us to what we call compound statements. If you're thinking about compounding something, you're adding to it. So, compound statements are inequalities that are connected by and, or. Now let's look at some examples of some you might actually see. Mary is a ninth grader and she plays softball. Are either one of those mutually exclusive? Can she only be a ninth grader and not play softball? Or can she only play softball and not be a ninth grader? No, both of those can happen at the same time. She's a ninth grader and she can be playing softball. That would be an and statement. What about an or statement? Francis walked to school today, or he took the bus. Can he both be walking to school and taking the bus at the same time? No. So, if you're looking at the difference between these, the and statement is inclusive of both conditions. Both conditions have to happen. So it becomes that intersection part. The or statement, one or the other has to happen. It becomes your union. Compound inequality is made up of two inequalities combined into one statement by the word and or are or. The and inequality is the intersection of the two inequalities. The or inequality is the union of the two inequalities. Negative 2 is less than x is less than or equal to 3. So x must be what? Greater than 2. And greater than or equal to 3. It will be the intersection of these two sets. So what does it look like? Well, we've got to have a negative 2, so I'm going to put negative 2 right here. We've got to have a 3, so I'm going to put 3 right here. That's the part of the number line we are focused on. Okay, negative 2 is less than x. Put the circle there, open or closed. It's an open circle because there's no equal to. And x is less than or equal to 3. Put my circle. Open or closed? Closed. And we highlight everything in between. So, looking at this, how many answers would you have to that inequality? An infinite number. Well, you can't see an infinite number? Okay, let's look. This is, let's just say this is 0. This is -1. I could have -1/2. I could have -1/4. I could have -1/8. I could have -1/16. Do you get the idea? You can always come up with smaller and smaller fractions that are in here. So there is an infinite number of solutions to your inequality. Okay, the next one says solve for x and graph. Okay, I want you to take a minute and look. This would be an and statement. It's less than or equal to -5 and at the same time less than 7. So it's going to be sandwiched in between two numbers on our graph because x is sandwiched between two numbers. But we have to solve first. Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3 areas. I've got 1, 2, 3 sons. If I don't treat my 3 sons the same way, it's not fair and they get angry. So this time I'm still going to make my columns like this. Now I'm ready to get started. 2x minus 1, -2x minus 1. Add 1 to all 3. -4 is less than or equal to -2x is less than 8. Now I'm going to divide, but whoa, wait a minute. It's a negative. All 3 of them get divided by -2, which means I've got to do what with my signs? Remind myself, what happens to my signs? Well, they're going to switch around. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 2 is greater than or equal to x is greater than 8 divided by -2 is -4. You notice that those symbols flipped around when I divided by a negative number. So I've got 2 numbers. I've got a 2, which would be, let's just put it here, and a -4. I'm going to put it down here. If you notice, I'm not even counting because I don't care. I'm just putting them on my number line, and whoever reads it will have to look and decide how many units each of these are worth. So 2 is greater than or equal to, close circle, and it's greater than -4. The and circles are highlighted where? In the middle. Okay, pause the video and see if you can solve these 2 equations. Can you solve for x? Pause the video and find out. Oh, I hope you tried. So if I'm looking here, I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. And P is greater than 7 minus 10 is -3. So P is going to be greater than -3. Okay, this time I'm going to divide by -9 on both sides. I've got P. This switches around, is less than -45 divided by -9 is +5. Okay, so even though it's an or statement, where is my shading going to be? It has to be one or the other. So I've got, here's -3 and here's +5. -3 is greater than, I know it's an open circle. My P is going to be greater. And then when I come up here, it's going to be less than. So where are the numbers greater than -3 or less than 5? Well, greater than -3 would go this way. Less than -5 would go this way. But let's look a little harder. Would 6 be greater than -3? Yes. So these numbers would be included. Would -5 be less than 5? Yes. So those numbers will be included. So basically, you're looking at the whole number line with the exception of -3 and +5. Those are the only two numbers you cannot use. To get an A on a test, Mario must get between 90 and 100 points, including the endpoints. If each question is worth 2.5 points, how many questions must he answer correctly to make an A? So, to get an A, he must make between 90 and 100 points, including the endpoints. So it can be not as low as 90 or as high as 100. Each question is worth 2.5 points. So let's look at the lower end of the scale. It's 90. So 90 is the least he can make, so it can be less than or equal to. How much is each question worth? 2.5. So we put 2.5x, and then he can get up to 100, less than or equal to 100. Now what? Well, I'm going to divide all the way across. I've got 3 children, I've got 3 areas. Divide by that 2.5. Now, I'm going to use my calculator to make it easier. 90 divided by, 90 divided by 2.5, and I get 36. 100 divided by 2.5, I get 40. It's less than or equal to, bring down my x. So I know that everything is in between 36 and 40, and that is inclusive. So if this is 36 and this is 40, do my circles. It's equal to, so my circles are filled in. Anything that falls in this range will give Mario an A. Okay, let's think a little bit harder. How many questions would be on the test? 40 questions, because that is the largest number he can get. I know I'm successful when I can solve and graph multi-step equations, or inequalities. Multi-step inequalities.